also I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on maybe some of my other disabilities, because I don't just have Asperger's. I have a rare genetic disorder called ornithine transcarbamylase deficiency, or it's Malaise-Mall's, however you want to call it. At the end of the day, it is a 1 in 80,000 disorder, and what happens is my body isn't able to break down protein correctly. Hold on. Excuse me. And when you're not able to do that, or if you have this specific disorder, what happens is ammonia at a very high toxicity level will enter your bloodstream. And when that happens, it can travel anywhere. It can go to your heart, your lung, I mean not your lungs, but well, I suppose it could, but your brain, because it is a neurotoxin, it can break the blood-brain barrier and get in there and start causing serious issues with you. It can cause seizures, can cause developmental delays, mental retardation, if you will. But that's, I try not to use that word, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. But that's obviously not my case. It can do a lot of things to you. And it's caused by a genetic defect or mutation carried and passed down by the mothers. And when that happens, the baby is unknowingly born with it. And when the baby is born, depending on how severe they have it, you either have it completely, which I don't have. I have it only partially. But either which way, baby seems fine, unless they're boys. Boys don't live very long because they don't have the extra padding that girls have. Because girls have two X's that determine that if you are a boy or girl. Girls have two X's, boys have one X and one Y. So they don't have protection like girls do. But so boys generally don't live very long and usually have it pretty bad. But I was diagnosed with that when I was 6, and I had to go down to the Mayo Clinic, which is, I guess it's not that bad because at the time we were living out about 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away maybe, depending on traffic, from United Children's Hospital in St. Paul. But, we went through many different doctors before we got there, and I had seizures, and I had complex partial seizures, and I had them in clusters, and that was real bad. They'd get real bad to the point that medical intervention was needed at times, and if you have a kid with seizures, you know that sometimes you might have to give them Valium rectally, and but because of this, the symptoms can mimic other childhood illnesses like stomach flu. And when that happens, when you get sick with this, your child has debilitating dizziness, vomiting, lethargy, obviously seizures if it keeps going on for a very long time. Eventually you'll have some type of developmental delay. You'll also have, you get a lot of things, but you get the developmental delay because it goes into the brain and starts wreaking havoc. So, like, when I was about 3 and a half, so that would be about 1994, maybe 1995, early 1995, we think I had a small stroke. And because when my mom brought me into this jerkwad of a doctor, and because she needed them to see me when I was really sick. I mean, when I was sick, I would go limp like this. and not be able to lift my head. And she wanted to show them that and say there's something wrong. And they didn't believe her, and she kept bringing me back and back because she said you got to see her when she's like this. And the doctor said, oh no, she's fine. She's just, they diagnosed me with vertigo or whatever. And obviously that was not what I had. But I'll give him, the jerkwad doctor, a little bit of leeway because it's a 1 in 80,000 shot. So I'm not gonna, knock too hard. But what he did the day I supposedly had the stroke was what happened was my face started drooping. My speech was extraordinarily slurred. I had trouble walking, which before this, I may have had those things, but not to the extent I was having them now. And my mom said she walked in with one kid and came out with a completely different one. So that's the story on the doctor. But control it by diet. And obviously, if you have concerns, you should go to your doctor or pediatrician and say, I think this is what it is. But protein-restricted diet, and when you have a protein-restricted diet, they'll judge by height and weight and whatnot, and they'll determine how much protein your child can take. And so, after we, after we went to the doctor down at Mayo, and they did the tests and stuff, they wanted to put me on Bufenol, which is now an orphan drug in treating this illness. But my mom and dad insisted on the diet because Bufenol would have had to be put through an NG tube, which is a feeding tube that goes through your nose, down your throat, and into your stomach. But the problem with this is that the NG tube, it's not like a G tube where you put it in your belly. This you can take in or out. And it would require a nurse, and there's always the chance that you can miss and hit alone. So instead of going into the esophagus, instead you go into the trachea and start messing with the lungs. So, but it was like $4,000 a month for the medicine. So my parents did the protein-restricted diet, and that's worked really, really well for me. But I just wanted to let you know about my genetic disorder. So I've got to go because it is almost 6:45 in the morning, and my van will be here soon, so I need to get ready. Alright, I might upload another video later. Thanks. Bye-bye.